Hey, y'all. Do you desire that your children actually love the idea of art and actually get inspired by perhaps a little bit of history and decides to maybe write about it in the middle of their sketches? Well, if so, I've got something special to introduce you to today in the Charlotte Mason Curriculum Chat, number 11. I'm Dolly Freeman, and I'm the creator behind the Charlotte Mason Way. And today, I have some pretty fun things for your kids. So if you're with me, say hello. Let me know where you're from. Or, more excitingly, tell me when you start your school. I'd love to know. We're going to be starting probably right after Labor Day. I don't have the exact date yet, but we kind of started a little, oh, putting our toes into the water a little bit. We don't jump all in. We just want to make sure that we have a fun time. And I'm hearing some thunder, I think, or the lawnmower. So this is going to be fun. Okay, it's the lawnmower. We've been having so many storms that I wasn't sure which one I was hearing. All right, so jump in. This is a chat, so please feel free to interject and ask questions or make comments. Let me know if you use these. This might be something you have on your shelf already. I'm going to give you a little bit of inspiration on how to use these resources for your children and get them inspired. So what I'm going to introduce you to is Draw and Write Through History. It is a 6-set volume, and I only have 5 here. I cannot find my other one, which probably means it's upstairs in my boys' room because they do like to sketch. In fact, all of our children have grown up from a very young age sketching. So it really works. So let me explain a little bit about how these books work. And as you can see, this says Creation Through Jonah. On other ones, it literally has the time period, Greece and Rome, so 600 BC to 395 AD. And that's what I love about these, is they're based on time periods. And if you know anything about Charlotte Mason, you know that she loved children to keep what she called the century book. And it's basically a timeline in a book form, and it's where they actually add their own little sketches, or you can do timeline figures and put them directly on your timeline so the child can remember about the things that they studied in history. Really, really good. You can add things like things that people that you learned about, events, no, that is thunder. When famous artists or composers or inventors, scientists, a whole lot of aspects that you can put on your century. Okay, so these all have, I'm going to show you the fronts of all of them. So this one is the Pilgrims, Pirates, and Patriots. So this is 1492, obviously starting with Christopher Columbus and going through 1781. And then there's the Vikings, which would be obviously before this time. The Vikings, which is what I'm surprised I'm not missing. I thought it was going to be this one that I was missing because my boys absolutely love this time period. And this is 793 AD to 1600s. And then the last one that I have with me, and my brain is thinking, I'm having a hard time remembering. Neapolitan to Lady Liberty, the world of the 1800s. So it might be my current time period that I'm missing. So anyways, because this is one of our favorites, I'm going to show you this one. So they're going to learn how to draw in here about the Viking ships. And if they don't know how to do cursive letters, there you go. There's an introduction to cursive. And as you can see, it's draw and write through history. So there's the focus on history, and they're going to learn how to sketch, and they're going to learn some writing activities in here. Let me know if you already have these and what you think of them. So then they're going all through the steps, and they're teaching them how to color the ships. And then they're talking about the long, and they're giving them fun facts all the way through. I'm sure you guys can see this. And so they're being introduced to everything about the Vikings. And this is a real powerful thing. And then here you have it. Here is a write-up about the Viking period. And then this can be used as your copy work. And I just absolutely love how its introduction is cursive, because that is something that definitely needs to be done. But this here, the Middle Ages, is my children's favorite. They love everything, swords and knights and all of that bravery and dragons, and they love all that. So anyways, here they're going to learn how to actually draw the castle and the moat. There are different kinds of weaponry, which would be the catapult that would actually throw the hot lava across, and they'd learn how to do the knights, the shining knights, into these little easy things, and it makes it so easy. It's amazing to me to see how easily they can draw. And all of a sudden, Facebook decided to give me everybody's comments at once, which is always fun. Hello, Sabrina. I'm glad that you're here. Sabrina's going to start next week. If you start in September, when do you start? For me, I never start before Labor Day. If it's a half a week, I like to actually start broken up. So where I'm like showing them how to do their grade notebook and what is expected of them. We're going to kind of go through their curriculum a little bit, get them excited. We finish organizing that first week, because that's my time to get my children excited about the new school year and what they're going to learn. So it's kind of like building that anticipation. And because we live in Virginia, 45 minutes from Williamsburg, we always fit in a field trip to, I shouldn't say always, we try to fit in a field trip to Colonial Williamsburg because it's homeschooling days. So we definitely do that. And Lynn, hello, glad you're here. You start right after Labor Day and you go to Memorial Day. That's almost exactly what we do. We tend to be finished before Memorial Day. So that's really neat to see. So Lynn says, we have some of those, but I have not really looked at how to use them yet. Well, stay tuned because I'm going to give you some ideas in a few minutes. So another one of my favorite is the Creation through Jonah. This is probably my favorite. My children's favorite is the this one, the one I just showed you. But I love this one because it goes right along with your Bible. And so again, it's still the cursive. And it starts with creation around 6000 BC. They talk about plants, so you can build this into your biology. I see more. Hello, Latoya. Glad you're here. So my older ones are too big for those, but I can't wait to use these for my little ones in a few years. Well, if they're drawing really good, then they are too big for them. But stay tuned because I have an idea for you. So they learned about the dinosaurs, being able to draw the dinosaurs, and then people. And as you can see, there's Adam and Eve. And by this time, you know, they have already sinned because they're clothed. And then here you go is your copy work again. And then the next, so they're going to be writing about the flood and the different animals. They're going to be learning about mammoths. And then here is a wonderful write-up about the flood and then the Tower of Babel. So it goes right through a lot of biblical history. And that's what I love about it. And then it jumps into Egypt, where they learn about the Sphinx and the mummies. And then it goes into China. And if you know anything about China, I'm going to give you moms a little bit of excited. It goes all the way through a lot of the things in Genesis. So you can be using this with your Bible history if you do. But let me tell you a little snippet that my children introduced me to years ago when my older two were in high school. They use a timeline to choose their topics for history. I give them a history period. I let them choose what to study. And they use these books to create their their timeline books, which is very similar to a lap book, except for we actually, if you go to joyinthehome.com and you can actually search timeline binders, you will see what I'm talking about. There's some really good examples of how to actually form them together and then how my children use them. Under, I think it's journaling. If you type journaling, you'll find some examples. Any rate, my kids have used this to sketch, and then they used history to decide what they wanted to do in their timeline binders. And so it folds up and then it lays out, and they have a timeline at the bottom. So they sketch a lot of these things here, and they learn about a lot. But when my older children were doing their Bible history, they realized from this timeline that we have that it's suggested that Noah was the one who was the very first person to found China, and that the founder of China, the first what do they call them in China? The dynasties. Um, I forget what their rulers are called, emperors. The very first emperor in China was thought to be Noah, and that the first emperor started a zoo. Does that just not kind of like make you laugh to think about that? So I think it's neat to see how it talks about China in here right after, or the pandas, right after that. I don't know if the person who created this knew that connection in history or not, but I had never, you can see here, it says China's first zoo. I don't know if you saw it, it's in 2000 BC. So when my kids made that and saw that on the timeline, they got really excited, and they got me excited as well. So anyways, so there's a little bit of history for mamas in case you did not know that. But this is how we use these. We use these in our history all the time. If our children need suggestions for copy work, I'll grab these and say, okay, this is your copy work for history. Oftentimes they choose these for their copy work, or they read these for inspiration for ideas to write. But the binder books, I'm telling you, they're amazing. I really highly recommend that you consider that for history, because you can do your timelines on the bottom. So Charlotte Mason recommended the Century book. We tried it. I'm just going to tell you, we did not like the Century book, and I'm going to tell you why. As you guys are contemplating you're getting ready to start your school year, and you're contemplating how to do it, and perhaps using these in your curriculum. Our children sketch all the time, so this is something that they love just picking up, which is why I can't find the sixth one. But what is really amazing about the Century book that Charlotte Mason recommended, you can find that on Amazon, I'm sure, is that we never felt like we were going to be done. The book was so big, and we just felt like it was overwhelming to fill that entire book, that we just wanted a sense of accomplishment, and we were not getting it when we were filling out that book. So when I was introduced to lap books, I did not like that lap books were, hard to organize and stay. And so my daughter and I just sat down and like, how can we do a lap book idea, but keep it in a binder? And that's when we developed the binder timeline. And it's just 3 pieces of cardstock. I give you exactly how to break them up or cut them up and connect them together on Joy in the Home. And then you just write the timeline at the bottom, and each binder book is actually a time period. So I could say creation through Jonah, and then I can tell them at another time that they're going to be studying this time period. And oftentimes, I'm trying to get it in here, this time period. And oftentimes I have followed these for their binder books, and they have their inspiration in here to draw in those types of things in it. And they pick their own subjects inside the binder books using our timeline in high school of who and what they want to study. But I kind of give them a skeleton of like, I expect you to study 4 people, find quotes from those 4 people, and copy work those quotes. I expect you to learn about an inventor, a scientist, inventions. I want inventions. I want a scientific invention. I want, I can't remember it, a war, an event. So I give them a list of things I expect inside of the binder, and it's their job to search for it, and their job to learn it, and their job to fill up the binder books. So they're really wonderful. Latoya says, do you do the timeline binders just for high school? I do not always do the timeline binders for high school. In fact, we really start them in middle school, because by high school, they're independent completely and self-educating in their own way. So middle school is my time where I show them how to do it. I have done it a little earlier, but it requires so much work on me, because our children are still learning the mechanics of writing, the mechanics of reading, the mechanics of spelling, and through dictation, and they're learning a lot still. And so I have done it in lower grades, but I have decided I'm not doing them until middle school, and that is our ground to like teach them and get them excited about them, show them how to make their own little aspects of them, and then to be able to take over completely by high school. So they are keepsakes, and we require 1 per term. So each each binder book has a time period in it. So these have been instrumental in their timelines and in their actual sketches, because some of them have to be sketched, some of them can be downloaded from the internet if they find something on Google or even in books, because there's times they've gotten stuff from library books and they'll make a quick copy of it and put it down. And we also use timeline figures. So and maybe that'll be a curriculum that I show you down the road, because it's important to have those kind of resources on hand for your children if you're doing the timeline binders. So so there you guys have it. I am so excited to be sharing. I was contemplating earlier this week, what am I going to share? And then I'm like, a lot of people have asked me about my timeline binder. So why don't I show you a little bit of inspiration of where our children get inspired by their ideas. And these literally show up in free time drawings all the time. It actually helps them to learn like the step-by-steps. Let me show you the mammal. The steps, or the mammoth, steps by steps of how to do this. And next thing you know, this is how they're doing other animals. They don't have to see it. They understand how to break up the drawing on their own, and then they get inspired. All right, you guys, I have a real exciting one that I think will get you excited. I'll give you a little hint. Next week, I'm going to be talking a little bit about music. So I have a really good resource that I think you might enjoy. So I hope you come back next week and hear about that. Next time, yes, it is next time. The following week, I'll be traveling with my husband. We're doing a little getaway, so I won't be able to do that. Paula, hello, Paula. She says, how would you use these history books for younger elementary? Younger elementary, you can use them for just letting them do a journal. It doesn't have to be a timeline. It could be just like a blank sketchbook for them to actually sketch, and it could be art and all on its own. You can use it for copy work, all on its own, or you can use it where they're creating their own. For instance, our kids have done it. Let me think. No, it's in this one, because this is by far their favorite one. They're, my younger ones are boys, but my daughter lives this time period as well. So I have seen them draw just the knights. No, it wasn't the knights. As soon as I saw this, I knew what it was. I have seen them draw this time and time again, and then different weapons. Again, it's Robin Hood, in case you didn't know. There's Robin Hood. So, the whole purpose behind this is to introduce your children to art through history. So, that just use it for an art lesson and give them their own sketchbook so that they can then explore how to draw. So for younger ones, I wouldn't be too mindful of it. Perhaps read it to them if they're not at the reading stages, and then use it as a supplement. If they're learning about Robin Hood, if they're reading about Robin Hood, bring the Robin Hood sketch in. If they're learning about dinosaurs or dragons, bring the drawings in. So there's so much you can do with this. It's just about you being inspired or letting your children be inspired by them. Again, our kids have gotten these off the shelf, probably more for free time sketching and then for homeschooling. So if you have followed me, you want to provide your children with tools and time to be able to explore ideas. So these are perfect books for you to be able to do that. And they're going to just build your Charlotte Mason library in a way that we bought these years ago, probably 10 years, maybe even 12 years ago. And I see them every school year coming out and used all year long. So it's a great resource. So I have the link to that in the post above. So you can go ahead and click on that. And then go ahead and see me next week, same time, same place, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be talking a little bit about something for your music. So I hope to see you then. Talk to you next time. Bye for now.